Let the silence tell you a story. This is Muted Frames.
Henry Jones Sr., Sean Connery, is the father of Henry Indiana Jones Jr. as an archaeologist. Henry's passion for antiquities has passed on down to his son, who was a Boy Scout in 1912. On a scout expedition in Utah mountains, Indy finds a group of thieves stealing national treasure, the Cross of Coronado, which dates back to the 1520, from an ancient cave. Indy believes that national treasures belong in a museum. Indy steals a priceless artifact and runs on a horse. He is pursued by the thieves as he gets on a train. As it turns out, the train was transferring animals for a circus. He falls in a tub of snakes. Fear of snakes, fights inside a lion cage with a whip. He gets home when the sheriff arrives with the thieves and forces Indy to return the artifact, which the thieves say that Indy has stolen from them. The thief chief puts a fedora hat on Indy. In 1938, Indy is shown to fight the man who bought the Cross of Coronado on a ship and retrieve the cross, as Indy still believes that it belongs in a museum. In 1938, Indy is at uni when he gets a brown paper package from Venice, which he puts in his pocket. Indy hands over the cross to Marcus Brody, Denholm Elliott. Indy is picked up by three men who take him to Walter Donovan, Julian Glover, a generous patron to the museum. Donovan is apparently an oil magnate whose drilling team has uncovered fragment of a stone marker dating to the 12th century in Ankara. The marker speaks of the Holy Grail, the chalice that Jesus used during the Last Supper, and the cup that held his blood after the crucifixion. The cup was entrusted to Joseph of Arimathea. It was then lost for 1,000 years, before 3 knights of the First Crusade found it. 2 of the brothers walked out of a desert 150 years after the Grail was found. They walked back to France, but only one of them made it. Before dying, he told his tale to a Franciscan friar. The knight told the friar that 2 markers had been left behind that together would reveal the location of the Grail. There were 2 markers kept in 2 separate locations. Joining the 2 markers will create a whole tablet, which will reveal the location of the Holy Grail. Donovan says that his project leader, Henry Jones Sr., who found the second marker with the Grail location, has vanished. Henry had determined the second marker to be in the tomb of the second brother, in Venice, Italy. Donovan says that Henry's assistant is Dr. Elsa Schneider, Alison Doody, who informed Donovan of Henry's disappearance. The package from Venice is Henry's diary with every known info about the Grail. In Venice, Indy meets Schneider and uses the last clue left by Henry to find the second marker. Indy takes an impression of the second marker on a piece of a paper, which already had the impression from the first marker. The tunnels where the marker lies is drenched in oil and is set on fire by a cult determined to prevent discovery of Grail. Kazim Kevork Malakyan is the leader of the Brotherhood of the Cruciform Sword, the cult which is dedicated to protecting the Grail. Indy escapes with Schneider and is pursued by cult. He captures Kazim to learn Henry is in the castle of Brunwald in Germany. Kazim says that his cult is prepared to go to any lengths to keep the Grail safe. Kazim tells Indy to think if he wants to find the Grail for his own glory or for the glory of God. Indy and Marcus study the markers and figure out the name of a city, Alexandretta, near the modern city of Iskenderun. Marcus the map of the Grail quest in Henry's diary. Indy travels to Germany and finds that Schneider was working for Walter, all this while who wants to grab the Grail for himself and immortality. Walter takes Henry's diary, which had the page with the map missing, and that map was with Marcus, and presents it to Hitler in Berlin. Walter leaves Henry and Indy in the castle imprisoned, but they manage to escape. Meanwhile, Marcus was in Iskenderun and was met by Salah, John Rhys Davis. Marcus and Salah are confronted by German agents. The agents manage to kidnap Marcus and retrieve the map from him. Henry wants to retrieve the diary as it has the Grail traps and the key to defeat them. Henry and Indy travel via a motorcycle to Berlin. Indy finds Schneider in Berlin and retrieves the diary. Elsa is horrified with the Nazis burning all the books in Berlin. She spots Indy, but allows him to get away, as she sympathizes with his cause. But the Nazis, led by brutal SS Colonel Ernst Vogel, Michael Byrne, attack Indy and Henry, and they barely escape. They were in an airship and escape in an airplane, while learning from Salah that Walter is going after the Grail in Jordan. Walter bribes the Sultan of Jordan with a Rolls-Royce Phantom to secure his permission to go after the Grail on his soil. Kazim is employed with the court of the Sultan and goes after Walter's expedition to stop him. The cult and Indy attack Walter's caravan at the same time. Kazim is killed by Vogel and his forces, while Indy manages to rescue Marcus and Henry, even as Vogel falls to his death from a cliff. Indy goes after the Grail himself, being pursued by Walter. Indy reaches the temple which leads to the Grail chamber. Walter reaches there and shoots Henry and forces Indy to retrieve the cup to save Henry's life. Indy avoids the traps. Only the penitent man will pass. Only in the name of God will you pass. Only the one with faith would pass. Indy reaches the Grail chamber and meets the third brother who stayed behind to guard the Grail. The third brother is now old and was waiting to pass on the baton to the next knight who came along on the Grail quest. Indy chooses the carpenter's cup. It was made of wood, and all the rest were made of gold and jewels, rightly identifying it as the Grail. Walter is killed drinking water from the wrong cup. Indy saves Henry. Water from the cup heals Henry's wounds. Schneider decides to escape with the Grail, triggering an earthquake. The Grail falls into a crevice, resting on a ledge. Schneider dies trying to retrieve it, but falling in. Henry persuades Indy to give it up and let the Grail be.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this calm storytelling, please subscribe to Muted Frames for more quiet and immersive movie plot journeys.